Hey, Dad.
Yeah, hon.
Mom says you need to mow the yard.
Tell her I'll do it when I'm good and ready.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Tell her I'm good and ready. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Daynator channel and another episode of Through-Billy's Project Poorvette. In the last episode, we saw Through-Billy chase some electrical gremlins through his dashboard, fix the HVAC switches and stuff on his dash, and install a new radio. Well, in today's video, Through-Billy is going to be following some more electrical gremlins and trying to figure out why the pop-up headlights on his Corvette aren't working properly. Will he figure it out? Well, you're about to find out. Enjoy the video. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Project Poorvette. It's a beautiful day today. All the neighbors are out working on their own projects. Sounds like someone's getting a tooth drilled or something back there. Ouch. Anyway, I'm going to work on trying to figure out what's going on with these headlight motors. At the time of recording this, I've actually already kind of messed around with the headlamps a little bit. So we'll show those videos to kind of show you what was going on when I was initially diagnosing what was the matter with these headlight motors. And that's why you'll probably see outfit changes. I'm not Shakira. I'm not doing a mid-show change here. I've got some ideas on to further diagnose what's going on with these, but we'll start with the old videos first, kind of show you where, like a baseline of where I was on getting the motors to where I have them right now. Well, I was trying to charge the Project Poorvette here, and I actually had the Hobo Freight battery charger on the car for, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, and then go out there and try to start it and have the same problem I had before. It just click but not crank. I got to looking, and the cable was about to snap off the lead here, so that actually was already the case on the other lead, and I had to fix it. I'm gonna have to replace that, get this charger back on the car again, but right now it's raining, so I'm not gonna be able to open the hood and just let her eat on there. So in the meantime, I'm gonna fix this so I can actually get a charger that actually charges my battery, so that I can find out what if my HVAC fix on the control panel is working. I did some more research on that black tube that's not going anywhere. I'm gonna start it up, try it out, just see what I got. Probably take that whole control panel out again and do some more digging, but this hood weighs a ton. Yeah, get up here. Let's hit this lot before it comes crashing back down on my melon. There we go. She's humming now, so. All right, so let's let this thing sit on there and let her eat for a little bit, and then I'll try to get her started. I found out what drained my battery. The courtesy light on this door panel, for some reason, was staying on. Even when I shut the door and all the other lights turned off, this one was staying on and sucked my battery dry. So, all right, I'm into my third day of attempting to get the car started. All right, see if I get anything at all. Still not enough. Yeah, so I'm taking a little bit of a detour here while I was waiting for my battery to charge on my charger. I decided to take a look at the headlight motors. They're both unplugged. So I decided to go ahead and plug them in just to see what happens. If I'm getting grinding noise, that's fine. I just want to know what's going on. So I'm gonna pull the lever here. And I have a light. Driver's side is wanting to work. It's all the way up. No grinding, which is great to hear. The lamp comes on the passenger side, but it doesn't move. So I put the test light on the wiring harness for the light, and it's getting juice, it's getting electricity, but there's something wrong with the motor itself not getting it. I was spinning this by hand, and it was rubbing real bad right here, and it's really kind of touching right here, so that's not good. I'm gonna have to keep finagling the adjustment on it. But I got to looking at the hinge. It got hung up because this nut right here, it was backed off like that, and then this plate right here was up against it, which is causing this thing to kind of bind on the plastic shroud here, this little tiny piece over here. So anyway, I've got this metal plate moved back over. Now I'm working on getting the nut to try to tighten it down. I can't get a crescent wrench or any kind of a wrench on it because this motor's in the way. There's two screws here. There's one here and one on the other side. I'm gonna pop this thing off, see if there's any contacts that need to be cleaned up, and maybe that's the problem with this motor.
or this come off, bound this up, which stripped the motor out, which is the reason why they unplugged it. And they probably just unplugged this side. Probably unplugged both of them just for good measure. And so I haven't done any research on these. I have no idea what's behind this little thing. If I pull this cap off, is 30 different springs or something gonna fly out at me? I don't know, so we'll see. I've got juice coming from the battery, and as I'm lifting, I can hear some connections being made. My guess is it sounded like it's wanting to move. So let me disconnect the battery so I don't kill myself. So I got it off. There's the brushes. Goes on this thing, make contact. There's my points, contact there. They're looking a little crusty. Looks like it got a little hot even. I'm gonna try to clean up these, maybe put some kind of dielectric grease on it or something to try to get those to make a little better contact. I just took a brass brush and I just cleaned up the contacts a little bit, cleaned off the shaft on that a little bit. I found the springs, they were down inside the shaft. I was able to get them out with a magnet. Maybe I can stretch the spring a little bit to give it a little bit more oomph out of them. Putting this all back together is probably gonna be a real pain in the neck, so. Okay, so I got the motor put back together. I think what was happening was this motor would turn and then it'd bind up and then stop the motor, because I think these motors stop just based on resistance. I guess maybe the previous owner thought the motor was bad, so they just unplugged the wire. You can even see in the plastic here that it's got some grooves in it because it was hitting this pin. I'll plug it back in. Now they're both plugged in. I'm going to hit the light switch, see if I can get both these motors to turn. So let's see if the lights will actually come on. And my battery is completely dead again. Good grief. So I finally got it started. Just wouldn't get enough cranking amps on that battery, so I hooked up the bird to it. I'll let this sit and run for a little bit. Hopefully the system charges itself. I'll check my headlights. I don't know why, but my motors, neither one of my motors is working now. So much for that. See if I can get this to do something in here. Right now it's blowing out the dash and the upper vents at the same time. I don't really know that I've gotten any vacuum up here. I can't even hear anything because the engine's running. It's blowing out a bunch of junk out of the vents. Got the slider over to hot, see what it does. Slider's working nice, glad to see that. Okay, I'll call that a win. I don't know if this is actually, the vacuum is working on any of these hoses or not. I really can't tell. I don't have an air conditioner anyway. My biggest thing was to make sure I wasn't getting any heat out the vents while I'm driving in the summer, because I don't want extra heat in the cab. Yeah, I can feel it coming out of the bottom too. So pretty much it's just coming out of everywhere, as long as it's blowing. Well, I just come back from taking it for a spin. Headlight switch, this one would turn on, it would rotate. That one didn't. I took that one apart, cleaned up the contacts, put it back together again, plugged everything in. Now neither one of them are doing anything. So I hand twisted them to be flipped up, and then I turned the lights on. They came on. I shut the lights off. This one rotated back down into the closed position when that one stayed up, so it didn't do anything. And cranked that one back down, and she's at where she's gonna be at. The dashboard, this project, it's been taking me several days to work on. The vacuum system is connected for the most part. There is one black hose that is not connected. Doing some research, is basically the supply line for the vacuum for the other hoses. So as long as that one's disconnected, I'm not going to get anything going on with the other vacuum hoses. I have the blend door for the hot and cold all the way to cold, and it was blowing some cool air in. And then I got a couple miles down the road and I switched it over to hot, and it was blowing out some pretty toasty air. So that is working. Out of all of this that I've been working on, that's what's fixed. Everything else is still pretty much the way it was, and I made the headlight situation worse. Okay, it's the next day. I had some time to think about it. I thought, well, maybe I could just hot wire directly to the connector. So I've got leads off of my battery, and I've got my ground in there. I'm gonna go ahead and just touch the lead and see if I can get this motor to spin. This motor can get power, and it does work. I should say it's working when I give it power. Reverse the polarity here and get the spin the other way, close it. Now let's try the passenger side. Sweet. Let's reverse it. So this motor sounds a little worse for the wear than that one, but it's working. Alright, both motors work. Now I just got to figure out why it's not turning on when I turn the headlamps on. So let me try to turn the headlamps on again. There we go. I turn the light switch on. Motors are not engaging. I believe there's a headlight motor relay, and I don't really know if it's this box here or not. There's typically 3 relays on a bracket right here. As you can see, this is definitely not one of those relays. This is a headlight control module. These are fun because it's basically a circuit board. And I got on the old Google machine and got to digging around. You can buy these original GM new old stock modules
for the tune of $700.
What? Not doing that. Found some, remanufactured, repurposed units online for about $170 to $200. That's a little bit more easier to chew, but I'm still not wanting to do that. Then I got online, started looking around at some junkyards that could potentially sell these, and good old eBay. Really, you never know what you're gonna get when you buy a junkyard part, but I don't even know if this one is bad. These wires are the same color wires that are currently on the motors, so I'm assuming these run directly to the motors. I'm gonna try to just put some power into this here. If I can put power in here and get these things to rotate, then I know I don't have a problem from the module to the headlights. If I put power to this and I can get one to run and the other one doesn't, then I know that I've got a problem in my wiring harness getting from here to there. I am not an electrician. I'm not a electrical guru by any means when it comes to vehicles and things. So I'm really hoping that when I apply power to this, I can just get this thing to hum and we'll be fine, and then I can diagnose it that this is indeed the problem. I don't want to spend $200 if this isn't the problem. So I'm going to try to do the process of elimination. Of course, not all 85 Corvettes had these. A lot of them just had the regular relays. So I'm stuck with dealing with this. I did look up online, and it seems like cars with flip-up headlights that were also General Motors, like Pontiac Fieros, Pontiac Firebirds, likely had the same module if they had this type of electrical system. So got this boy thinking, I've got a 97 Firebird, and I've got a light module sitting right there. So I really don't want to take that out of the Firebird, but I will if I have to. I really want these headlights to work. If that module works in here, then I obviously know that that one's bad. So, all right, so I've got my power hooked up, and then I'll put this one on this side. I'm not going to be able to hold all this together with the camera and everything, so just listen. All right, I'm going to switch these poles now. The driver's side headlamp just went up. All right, now it went back down. Let's go ground and power. If I touch these, theoretically, the passenger side headlamp should come up. If it doesn't, then I know I've got a problem in this wire, these 2 wires going to that side. Let's see what happens. And we got movage. It worked just fine. And it went down. So the wiring harness to both headlamps is fine. This module's likely bad then. Let's see. Down here is probably the power supply. One's probably for the light bulbs. The other one is likely for the motors. And then we got grounds and probably high beams and stuff like that. Low beam and high beam maybe. I don't know. Just guessing here, folks. What I'm gonna do next then is take the lower connector out and then put a test light on there. I'm gonna turn the light switch on, see if I can actually get a bulb to light up on my test light, see if I'm getting power to here, which I know that I am with the headlights. I just need to know if I am with the power motors, which, wait, hang on, I do know I'm getting power for the motors. Let me back that up. I do know that I'm getting power for the motors because when I pull the headlight switch on the dash, the driver's side does move. So the passenger side does not. Could it be bad contacts in here? Should I just spray some cleaner in it, maybe scrub her down. Maybe that's it. Who knows? Just thinking out loud, folks. All right, so this just goes to show you how much I don't know about these modules. I've got both of them unplugged and my light bulbs are on, so I turn the light switch on. So these modules don't have anything to do with the actual power supply to the headlights. This is strictly for the power motors, apparently. You'll note that when I put my test light on, I get a constant, nothing, and a constant. I'm gonna switch my probe to positive, which means if this lights up, it means that there's a ground. So nothing. Okay, that's my ground. So black, that makes sense. So there's ground. This one's a power, that's a ground, that's a power, that's a power, and this yellow one, yeah, that is a ground. So I went ahead and grabbed it out of there. It says replace, do not repair. Who knows if this is even the original one from the car. Kind of seems like how grody it is, but you can see how bad the contacts are in there. That's probably not good. So I'm gonna take this into the garage, get her cleaned up, and then bring her back out here to my power supply. I'm gonna see if I can, following the wires that I tested earlier, see if I can add a power and a ground in here and see if any one of these light up, because it's sending signal to the headlamp motors. So before I do any of that, I'm gonna get these cleaned up. Okay, so I cleaned up the contacts. I followed the wiring diagram as far as what I knew to be power and ground, and I hooked up my leads to power and ground and had my test light on here, and I was getting power to show up. So it is getting power up here, which shows that I'm getting power to that wiring harness, which means there should be getting power to my headlight motors. Why it's not happening before, maybe it was because of all this corrosion. I'm hoping that was it. I put power on this first terminal here and I heard a clicking sound in there, so hopefully I didn't fry this thing. Probably did, but let's put this back on here. So with the light switch off, these center posts gave me lightage, which means that that's keeping the motors down. And when I turn the lights on, I get lightage on the outside terminals, which means that would keep them up. So let's turn my light switch off. Let's plug this in. All my wires are plugged in, contacts cleaned. I have test light showing that I am getting power. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Nothing. Okay, I think I know the problem. I bet you my battery is not juiced. Yeah, she's flat. Okay. All right, Rescue Ranger to the rescue again. I was able to start the car, so I guess there was enough cranking amps and electricity to get it started. So let's see if it actually makes its headlights move. 3, 2, 1. So I thought maybe the old persuader, a few taps on the motor there might get her to spin, and I had to twist it by hand. So twisting it by hand, power's on, headlamps are up. I'm going to test and see if turning the lights off, if I get signal to turn the lights off, if that will make the motor twist down. 3, 2, 1. All right, so it's not doing anything. Okay, this is frustrating. So there is power getting up here. When I put power into these wires, they move. Why is it not working off of the switch? What's going on in here that it's not getting the power that's coming up here to right here? I ended up taking the headlight control module out of the 97 and I attempted to put it in the 85. The harness is plugged in just fine, but when I went to turn the lights on, got nothing. So I took the 85's module and I plugged it into the harness for the 97, turned the lights on, absolutely nothing. Modules are not compatible between the two. Didn't catch any of that on video because of starting to rain on me. I think that the headlamp may have some kind of a ground problem because that module is showing that there's power going to the upper harness for the actual motors. There's power there. I don't know how much power, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's not enough voltage, because I found that as the battery's dying on this car, the driver's side headlight won't flip, and we saw that earlier, so I had to charge the battery up a little bit.
maybe the module is bad because it's not putting out enough voltage. So I'm gonna have to get my electricity detector, voltage meter, whatever you want to call it thing, and see if I can test how much voltage is coming out of that upper portion of the module. And if it's not the correct amount, then I'm gonna send that module into the trash can and try to get a new one. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna put this on pause for right now. So hang tight, we'll get back to it.
Many months later.
I like turtles.
So I'm back at it again with the headlights on this 85 Corvette. It's been several weeks since I last did any recording on the headlights here. I did some more research on the headlight control module. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to peel this thing open and kind of investigate if there's any bad solder joints, if there's any bad resistors or not. I got a buddy that said he'd be willing to take a look at this thing and see if we can figure out what's wrong with it. I found one place on a forum that said in between these two connectors is a big relay, like a big square block that's soldered to the circuit board, and the one that he showed in this picture was blown. So if that's it, then I found the exact relay online for like $14 or $24 something, $20 something dollars. I'm trying to save some money is what I'm trying to say. So let's get this thing out here and then get to the workbench. It says replace, do not repair. I'm going to ignore that. Try to crack this thing open without totally destroying it. Able to get this pried up a little bit here. I see a problem right off the bat. It's pretty burnt right there. So, I don't know if that's salvageable or not. Probably not. It's pretty crispy. I'm gonna take some photos of this and send it to my buddy, see if there's something he can do with that. I have no idea what that is and why it would be burnt, but something definitely fried on it.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Well, I've got updates. Got a buddy at my church who's done circuitry repair and stuff. I've dabbled. I didn't want to tackle this. I asked him about it, see if he would know what's going on with it. Needed a new capacitor. I don't remember what he said. So he's got that soldered on there and done some other magical stuff to it. It's complicated. So basically just about $8 he's been able to kind of resolder some things around, kind of bypass some burnt pathways and stuff, and just gonna send it, see what happens. I'm just gonna leave it out like this and just plug everything in and just see if the headlights flip. I hope it works, because $8 is better than 170 and certainly better than 800. I think you'd probably agree with me on that one. Even with the rerouted stuff, it still fits in there nice, so that's good. I don't have any clearance problems with the additions that were made. Let's go plug it in. First, what I'm going to do is disconnect the negative battery cable. I don't want to have the system charged when I put everything back in, just as a precaution. Seems like the right thing to do. Let's get her done. Battery cable disconnected. And make sure I put these on the right way. That'd be nice. I'm gonna put my battery terminal back on. Basically do the sniff test, make sure there's no fire. Alright, battery terminal's back on. Nothing's melting. Alright, let's hit the switch here and see what happens. Let me plug my headlamps back in. Well, my headlamp motors, I should say, not the lamps. Here we go. Fellas, we got a result. Both lights have just rotated. Let's get you out here and take a look at it. Here we go.
Pop, 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 up and down headlights.
Going down.
Pop up and down headlights.
I got my little pokey tool, and I've been clearing out this channel, getting all this butyl tape, existing old butyl out of there. Fellas, I'm telling you, that stuff is tacky. Like, tackier than proposing to your girlfriend at your best friend's wedding reception. I've got some of this silicone, just gonna squirt her in the channel, get her in there and clamp it shut. Installed. So pretty much from the first few video clips of me trying to just diagnose what was going on to right now, it's been about 3 or 4 months. Come to find out, it was the headlight control module. Now, there's some of you out there arguing, Throwbilly, 85 Corvettes did not come with a headlight control module. Okay, mine's an 85, not saying it came from the factory that way. I have an 85 and it has a headlight control module. That's what it is. Anyway, so I cracked open the control module. Sure enough, y'all seen it, crispy. So I posted online, is this salvageable or not? I had a lot of folks saying, just throw it in the garbage can. Well, $8 later, to help my friend Jerry, thanks Jerry, soldering that back together saved myself about $170, up to $800. Glad to have these working again. I don't know how long this is going to last. I hope it does, but for now they do work. That'll conclude it for this section of the Poorvette project. Appreciate you guys watching. Leave some comments down below what you think of the project. I got a whole lot more things to do with this thing. There's a lot to do, so stick around. We'll have some more fun together with Project Poorvette. Thanks for watching. God bless, and we'll see you next time.